So, the guy's already out of commission. He had a long, storied NHL career with a Stanley Cup on top of that. Not to mention the fact that he was able to retire as a member of the Montreal Canadiens, the hometown team that he cheered for. But today, just after his NHL playing career officially comes to an end, we are making some comments about David Savard, because he might have just sent a warning to the Montreal Canadiens and one Juraj Slafkovsky. I wanted to refer to an article published on donlescoulisses.com from 2 days ago by Felix Forget. Again, I don't know if it's Felix Forget or Forget, but I'm assuming Forget because, French. This article will be linked in the description. It was translated from French into English. David Savard says, if Juraj Slafkovsky doesn't perform, it'll be difficult to win. Now, I know that is the most duh kind of statement that you could go out there and make. Hey, if a player who is supposed to be good doesn't play well, then it's going to be hard to win. You can say the same thing about Suzuki. You can say the same thing about Caulfield. You can say the same thing about Hudson. You can say the same thing about the goaltending. But Juraj Slafkovsky is the guy who is being put on the hot seat here, and I wanted to dive into a little bit as to why that is, where exactly the Slafkovsky path can go, and just what David Savard ended up saying in totality. Let's go out there and read this article. It starts out by talking about how Slafkovsky was a first overall pick. And he was super dominant in the Olympic scene. He wanted to be that dominant player in the NHL. He's got size, he's got scoring, he's got a power forward ability. There were folks saying that he was like the next Mikko Rantanen, kind of in that same mold. Big guy, scoring guy, dominant guy. For many people, myself included, Felix Forget writes, Slafkovsky is possibly the most important piece in Montreal for a very simple reason. The club really needs him to develop to his full potential to become an aspiring team. That's also an opinion shared by David Savard now, Slav's former teammate. According to him, if Slafkovsky doesn't become that player who performs game after game, it's going to be difficult for Montreal to win. This is what he stated in an interview with Mario Langlois on 98.5 FM Sports. This was posted about on Facebook. It's a clip from their interview where David Savard does say that, and you can read the translation here on Facebook. Yeah, man, we've never done this. We're going onto Facebook of all things, but it was posted by 98.5, and it is an interview with David Savard. He reflects on his hockey departure, his move to the Canadiens, and the future of the Habs. Barely retired, the veteran doesn't hide his hope for the younger generation, but he also warns, without a dominant Juraj Slafkovsky, victories will be scarce. He would have dreamed of lifting the cup in Montreal. He talks about it without hesitation, as well as his respect for Martin St. Louis and the promise he sees in young people. We're gonna change that. The promise that he sees in the young guys. The young people just kind of makes it seem a little bit different. Okay, let's just refer back over to the article here, because Savard has a pretty good point here. He recognizes how much of a dominant force Slafkovsky can be and how he can change the game. Seeing him able to win puck battles along the boards makes it easier for guys like Caulfield and Hudson to work their magic. Savard even adds that Slafkovsky is a silent leader who, when he's involved in a game, makes the rest of the group a little more involved too. Seeing him set the tone physically motivates the other players to do the same. Now, just for reference here, Juraj Slafkovsky had a season in 2024-2025 with 51 points in 79 games played. Slightly better than the point production total that he had in 23-24, plus the 2 goals in the playoffs, which also were pretty noteworthy. Slafkovsky was better in the second half of the season, and we all kind of recognize this. We made our video commentary about the 3 years later video about Juraj Slafkovsky, but ultimately a lot of those same points can be applied here as to how David Savard is breaking it down. Because sure, when guys like Suzuki, Caulfield, and Hudson are playing their best, Hudson is manning the point. He is controlling the zone. He is dictating the pace of play. He is every second pass on the power play. When Caulfield is at his best, he is putting his behind in the right spots where nobody else is paying attention to. He's receiving those passes, he's putting it in, he's getting a hat trick, he's scoring a bunch of goals, and he's coming in at the most opportune times to create those plays. Nick Suzuki, when he is at his best, he is doing all of that whilst being one of the main driving forces too. But Slafkovsky, when this guy is at his best, this guy is playing to a standard that I think can facilitate the game in every single aspect. What he has physically is something that Suzuki, Caulfield, Hudson, and heck even Demidov will probably never have. Slafkovsky has a physical edge and a willingness to execute physically that some of these other guys just don't really have instinctually built within them. So for Slav to be that guy to dictate the play physically, to allow opponents to bounce off of him while he controls the puck on the end boards, to make really nice one-touch passes and receive pucks and gather pucks, control it back and retrieve it, he's got a really good ability to just go for it. And that is one of the things that makes Slafkovsky such a good and powerful facilitator of play, that it's not even just purely about the points. Savard says, oh yeah, Slafkovsky needs to play his best in order for the Canadiens to have a better time winning games. But that doesn't necessarily mean getting 100 points like Mikko Rantanen does every single year. Now, sure, that would be nice. I don't think it's guaranteed that Slafkovsky ever becomes a 100-point NHL player. There are a lot of hurdles he's going to have to jump over offensively to double his point production in a season. But the fact is, the tools that he has, cradled all in that toolbox, it's putting together the pieces to making an incredible game-changing hockey player. It's just right now, Slav needs a little bit of work in terms of putting it all together, especially for a full 82-game campaign. He even said himself that he needs to be better in October and earlier months in the season. He hasn't really been the guy to get off to the hottest start. I know there were some injury concerns in the earlier parts of his career which hampered this, but despite that, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about David Savard giving this commentary on Slafkovsky and speaking out about the big Slovak winger as a guy who needs to be his best in order to lead the Habs to victory? Might I remind you, Slafkovsky was a first overall pick, and while he may not be in that same territory as a Connor Bedard or a McDavid or a Matthews or a Crosby, there still is ample expectations, and there are still crazy good things he can do, which is why he was drafted first overall in the first place. Mikko Rantanen is debatably a first overall caliber guy. Maybe not in the 2015 draft where he was taken, because Connor McDavid would still rule that. Heck, would Rantanen even be number 2? Jack Eichel is there. Anyways, that is another conversation for another day, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about David Savard and these comments made on Juraj Slafkovsky, pretty much sending a warning, saying, hey, this guy's got to play better, or else the Habs are not going to have a chance to win. Let me know in the comments all your opinions about that. I hope you enjoyed this British Astral 99, and bye.